Hey there. If you're an Airbnb host, you totally get that little rush when a new booking notification pops up. But you also know that feeling in your stomach that can come right along with it? The stress. Well, today, we're diving into the playbook that's going to take you from being a stressed-out property manager to a cool, confident, and strategic business owner.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. Are you just kind of passively taking whatever bookings come your way? Or are you actually intentionally building a real business? Because, the difference between those two things, it's everything. It all comes down to your mindset.
You see, on one side, you've got the reactive host. They're constantly worried, feel like they have zero control, and are always at risk of a party, a scam, or a terrible review. But on the other side, that's the proactive host. They're confident, they are absolutely in control, and they are consistently profitable. Our goal here is to give you the exact playbook to make that jump.
And that brings us right to our first section, making that critical shift from reactive to proactive. And listen, this isn't just some small tweak to your settings. This is hands down the single most important change you can make. It's about you choosing your guests, not just letting them choose you.
So what are we really talking about here? The fancy term is booking management, but I want you to think of it more as an art. It's the art of strategically accepting the right bookings. This isn't just about dodging bullets. It's about protecting the three things that matter most: your revenue, your property, and, let's be honest, your sanity.
And why is this so important? Well, for one, a proactive approach is your #1 defense against parties and fraud. It's also the key to avoiding that dreaded host burnout, and we all know how real that is. It directly increases your bottom line by attracting better guests who tend to stay longer. Oh, and here's a nice little bonus. Airbnb's own algorithm actually rewards hosts who manage their bookings this way.
Okay, so theory's great, but how do we actually do this? Let's get into our next section, mastering guest screening. Think of this as your front line of defense. Getting this piece right can prevent a mind-blowing 90% of your problems before a guest even thinks about walking through your door.
Now, let's talk about the big one, the instant book dilemma. The pros? They're huge. You get a higher search ranking, which means more eyeballs, which means more bookings. The con, though, is pretty significant. You give up the chance to manually approve every single guest. And that means you absolutely must have a bulletproof screening system in place. There's no way around it. But before you go rushing to turn Instant Book off, check out this number. A full 90% of the top-performing, most successful hosts on the entire platform, they keep it turned on. So here's the secret. They aren't avoiding the risk. They've just built rock-solid systems to manage it. They don't fear Instant Book. They've totally mastered it.
And this is that system. It's a simple, repeatable 4-step screening process. First, a quick profile check. Second, you ask about the purpose of their trip. Third, you learn how to spot the red flags. And finally, you send a clear confirmation message. Let's break that down real quick.
Now, that second step is probably the most important part of the whole thing. It can be as simple as this one automated message, asking who will you be traveling with and what brings you to the area. Look, you're not being nosy. It's a professional way to understand their intent. A real traveler will have a clear, easy answer. Someone trying to hide something? Well, they won't.
And in those answers, you're looking for what we call green flags. Things like a clear purpose for their visit, a verified ID on their profile, and a history of positive reviews. At the same time, you need to train your eye to spot the red flags. Vague answers. A local person booking for just one night on a weekend, that's a classic party indicator, or anyone asking about bringing extra visitors. These are your cues to dig a little deeper, or honestly, just politely decline.
Guest screening is half the battle, for sure, but the other half is using the tools Airbnb gives you. This brings us to our next pillar. Your calendar is control. Seriously, stop thinking of it as just a place to track dates. It is a powerful strategic control panel for your entire business.
So how much of a difference can your calendar really make? Get this, one simple change in your settings can potentially slash your turnover and cleaning costs by up to 40%. I mean, that's a massive impact on your profit margin.
So what's the big secret? It's incredibly simple. It's switching from allowing those risky one-night stays to setting a 2-night minimum, especially on weekends. This one rule change basically filters out the vast majority of potential partygoers and starts attracting more serious, respectful travelers, which in turn dramatically cuts down your workload. And that's just one tool in your calendar toolkit.
You can set even longer minimum stays for holidays. You can be proactive and just block off high-risk dates like New Year's Eve or Halloween entirely. And you can use the minimum advance notice setting to stop those chaotic last-minute bookings that, let's face it, often bring the biggest headaches.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a lot of work, but it really doesn't have to be. Which leads us to our final, and maybe the most powerful section: automate your playbook. This is how you put all these pro strategies into action without creating hours of extra work for yourself.
So, just how much of this can you automate? Up to 70%. Just let that sink in for a second. More than 2/3 of the entire screening and booking management process can be put on autopilot, just running in the background, freeing you up to, actually grow your business or just get your time back.
And we're talking about really tangible stuff here. You can set up that super important pre-booking screening message we just talked about to send automatically. You can create rules to auto-block your cleaning and prep time on the calendar. You can even set rules to auto-approve guests who meet all your criteria and send polite pre-written messages to decline the ones who don't. It's a game changer.
So the whole point is this: when you adopt this playbook, you are fundamentally changing your role. You're not just a host anymore. You are the gatekeeper of your property. You are the strategist for your business. You are in control. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. Now that you have the playbook, what's the very first proactive step you're going to take today to start moving from being that reactive host to a truly strategic business owner? Thanks so much for watching.